Hello, this is the luckiest maths teacher in the world. Thank you so much for tuning into this video in which we will go through one quantity as a percentage of another. But first, let's look, what are percentages? Well, it turns out percentages, fractions, and decimals are different ways to represent the same number. So the reason we have percentages is it allows for an easy comparison because a percentage is just a fraction whose denominator is 100. And when two fractions have the same denominator, they're easy to compare. It's easy to see which is larger or which is smaller. So let's first look at converting between percentages and fractions or decimals. So if the number is a percentage, you can turn it into a fraction or decimal by dividing by 100. And if you want to go from a fraction or decimal to a percentage, you do the opposite. You times by 100 and add a percent sign. So let's look at the number 24%. Let's convert to a fraction and a decimal. So what 24% means, it's just 24 hundredths, 24 over 100. Of course, we can simplify that to 6 over 25. So as a decimal, if I divide 24 by 100, I just get 0.24. So all of these numbers, 0.24, 6 over 25, 24 over 100, and 24% are the exact same number, just written different ways. So let's look at this next one, 3.6%. So as a fraction, that's just 3.6 over 100. That's what percentages mean. They're just fractions whose denominator is 100. 3.6% means 3.6 out of 100 or 3.6 per 100. Of course, if I want to write this as a simplified fraction, I can't have a decimal in the numerator, but fortunately you can just put 3.6 over 100 on your calculator and you get 9 over 250. So your calculator can simplify for you. So as a decimal, if I divide 3.6 by 100, I get 0.036. Once again, all of these are just different ways to represent the same number. So you can sometimes have percentages over 100%. So if you have something that's more than 100%, the number is more than 1. 105%, same idea. To convert to a fraction, we just write it over 100. So it's 105 over 100, which simplifies to 21 over 20. Of course, these two numbers are both more than one whole. So as a decimal, it would just be 1.05. So let's look at going the other way. So let's say we have a fraction and we want to convert it to a percentage. Well, all I do is I go to my calculator, put 7 over 8 times 100 in my calculator, and what I get is 87.5, and then I just add the percent sign. So 7/8 is 87.5%. If you got 7 out of 8 in a test, you've scored 87.5%. So 7 over 8 is the same as 87.5 hundredths, which is 87.5 out of 100, 87.5%. So same deal for decimals. If you have a decimal and want to convert it to a percent, all you do is times it by 100. You can do that in your calculator. So 0.025 times 100 is 2.5, and then I add the percent sign. All right, let's now look at applying this to finding one quantity as a percentage of another. So you will often be asked to find one quantity as a percentage of another. What that actually means will become clearer in a minute when I go through an example. But to approach these problems, we're going to follow two steps. We're going to write the quantities as a fraction, so first quantity over second quantity, and then we're going to implement what we learned on the previous slide. The way you go from a fraction to a percent, you times by 100%. So just two steps. Write the quantities as a fraction, multiply by 100%. So the kind of question you need to be able to do. If I score 36 out of 75 in a maths test, what is my score as a percentage? So if you don't know what this is off the top of your head, that is okay. But I just want you to have some idea. So 36 is a little less than a half of 75. So the answer we get should be just a bit below 50%. So when it says find one quantity as a percent of another, what we're actually doing, we're saying what percentage is this number, this first quantity of this? Is 36 40% of 75? Is 36 80% of 75? That's what we're trying to find out. So for this question, all we do is write first quantity over second quantity, because in the test, I scored 36 out of 75. So now I want to convert this fraction to a percentage. So of course I just multiply by 100 and stick a percent sign on the answer. So 36 over 75 times 100, if you put it on your calculator, you get 48 and add the percent sign. If you score 36 out of 75 in a maths test, you've scored 48%. Another way of looking at is we've used equivalent fractions. We've found that 36 over 75 is the same as 48 out of 100. And this is around what we expected. Remember, I said we expected our answer would be just below 50% because 36 is just less than a half of 75. All right, thank you so much for tuning into this video. This has been the luckiest maths teacher in the world. Have a great day.